the political challenges to conducting a benchmarks assessment would be getting buy-in and approval from both government and opposition, all government and opposition parties, independents, ensuring that the presiding officers have bought into the assessment and made sure that they're driving the project forward within the legislature as well? Really,
yeah. It doesn't work unless there is real buy-in from the government and opposition, because it's the taking forward the outcomes of the benchmark and the recommendations that really will need to be sponsored, supported by the government, particularly if there's issues around financing or around the administration or running of the Parliament. The government will, to some degree, in lots of jurisdictions, have final say on that, partly because they make up the majority of members in the legislature. So, and it's really particularly important for speakers, presiding officers who are non-elected members, but who are appointed or elected from just the membership of the legislature, because sometimes they can struggle to have the same level of influence within the institution as those that are elected members who are appointed to that role by their own membership. So I think having the broadest of backing as possible is key. But I think, as Avni would highlight, particularly when we're having meetings, it's important that we get all the engagement. I don't know if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, particularly during meetings, I think, with external stakeholders who perhaps, like Fraser mentioned earlier, are not aware of the direction from which the benchmarks are being approached, will require the knowledge that the presiding officers and the speakers and the government have backed this process, and that their responses are providing a holistic perspective of the view of the legislature and how it functions, what the different roles within that legislature are, and how it is that they're all driving forward this idea that improvements and recommendations are being brought forward with that backing, with that buy-in, and that there is a driving force behind the assessment and its progress, really.
Yeah, thanks, Avni. The other thing I just would add is that we also really stress that no parliament is perfect. No parliament in any one of the 56 Commonwealth countries meets all of the 132 benchmarks. And showing the branches that we work with exactly that, sharing with them case studies and best practices from the other branches that we have previously worked with, ultimately to share knowledge, expertise, capacity, best practices, and so on and so forth, to enable them to be the best possible parliament that they can, to scrutinise the executive effectively, to develop good legislation, and ultimately to deliver, I think, the best possible outcomes for their voters.